And welcome to a special edition of And They're Off, where we bid farewell to one of the jewels of horse racing, Hollywood Park, which will run its last race later this month. When Steve Haskin and I were out in LA for the Breeders' Cup last month, we stopped by Hollywood to say goodbye, along with videographer Skip Dickstein and also Tim Lanahan, who we want to thank for coming along with us to capture these moments for the show you're about to see. Since Churchill Downs bought Hollywood Park in 2000, it's been all downhill, the track passing from one owner to another that didn't give a damn about it, and so now it comes to the end of the road, quite unfortunately. Steve, I've got to admit, it was pretty emotional for us walking around there having to say goodbye to this old friend.
Yeah, it really was. Just discussing the memories from the different spots we were at, as you're going to see in a few minutes. It was very emotional. Even more so for you because you were weaned at that track. My experience basically was from the Breeders' Cup and a few other times I went, and the mornings I spent on the backstretch. And it's funny, it was really an eerie feeling being there because even though the meet was still about to go on, I felt as if you could still feel the ghosts of Hollywood Park past. You know what I mean? It's almost like you got that eerie feeling like that was it. It was over. It was just so quiet. And there were horses in the barn, but there was hardly any people around. And it was just so quiet. And you really could almost feel the ghosts of the past great horses and the great trainers, who made Hollywood Park such a special place to go racing. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of felt like that way for a while now. When people don't put money into a place, it's just a long, slow downhill journey, and it's a damn shame because we were standing on the backstretch. You look out at it; it's the most gorgeous place you'd ever want to see.
What about the people before us too? Who have the memories of Swaps and Round Table and Native Diver.
Yeah.
And horses like that. I mean, our history is a lot more present than that. But when you think of the rich history of this racetrack, it really is sad.
Yeah, Citation, Affirmed, Seattle Slew. I mean, good God, it just goes on. But anyway, here we are. Here's our tribute to Hollywood Park. Scott, our rookie sensation, roll the tape, please.
I'll tell you, the closing of this place is more than just the closing of a racetrack. It's really the signal that not everything is right with this sport, because this is a magnificent place, and as we hope to show you here in the next few minutes, it's so filled with memories of the history of the sport.
I know, and it's kind of eerie just being here by ourselves. There's nobody around. It's just we got new houses up there that weren't there before, and it's just so quiet. Just to think that this is going to be level and it's not going to be here, it's pretty sad.
Yeah. Steve, this is a very important spot for me here at Hollywood Park, because on July 4th, 1993, I met the love of my life here, and it wasn't my wife. A 2-year-old filly named Phone Chatter was walking around the paddock before a maiden race. I was here at the rail watching her, and if there was ever love at first sight, man, that was the first sight. And Richard Mandela has often said he had to check her papers twice to make sure she was a 2-year-old. She was that big and that striking. She broke her maiden that day. 2-3 months later, she was the champion 2-year-old, winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies over at Santa Anita. And it was one of those rare things where you pick out one and follow it, and man, great things happen.
Just think of the real old timers who you're talking about Phone Chatter in here. What about the ones that saw Swaps in here and Native Diver and all the great horses? The Breeders' Cups with Ali Sheba and Ferdinand. Watching Skip Away set a new track Breeders' Cup record for the Classic at 1.25 miles.
As soon as you walk out here on the backside, it's Hall of Fame alley here. The memories come flooding back as soon as you walk in. You got the barn of Ron McAnally, who of course is still here, and right next to it, the barn of the late, great Bobby Frankel, who was such a great friend to us. There's a funny thing about Bobby, Steve. Everybody thought he was kind of hard to get along with and tough to be around, this hard-edged guy. But I tell you, and we spent a lot of time in this office visiting with him, and
he was the most open guy in the world.
Oh,
when
he
it
was
came
great.
to people just dropping in and visiting him, even when he was working and doing his charts.
know.
And
Do you remember you remember the old pictures he had when he was young? That he had on all these old shriveled up yellowish pictures he'd have in his office. He took such great pride in them too, you know. And he would just sit there. The thing is, he was so cordial when you came. If he liked you,
Yeah.
if you were close to
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
he was the greatest.
Yeah.
If he didn't know you, he would just be so ambivalent, or even just outwardly just unfriendly.
Just didn't care.
Right.
But the webbings here are really interesting because it looks like Bobby's old webbings.
Yeah,
are
it
still
does.
up here. And
Yeah, he had the
kinda
blue and white.
gives it an amazing link to the past as you come inside the shed room.
I know. There's only one thing different here. The office
There's
is not
no
here.
office, but think about the great horses that were here. It's funny, this horse Pray Hard here, Steve, is in the stall that used to be Bobby's office.
I know. It's unbelievable. I mean, they had the tack room and the office. I can't remember which one, but I can just see all the old pictures now.
Yeah,
You know, and now they obviously made it into stalls, right?
yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
baby, you know what? Do you know what hallowed ground you're standing in right now? Do you know whose office this was?
There were a lot of
Frankel's?
screaming phone calls going on in this office. He'd be calling over at Santa Anita telling him to water the grass or cut the turf course and change up the dirt track and pretty
Yeah.
much try to run the whole show from here.
Yeah, the thing is, you remember he'd just stand. He wouldn't go anywhere. Basically, he'd stand right here almost the whole morning over there and just start talking.
Thing was, Steve, I don't remember any other trainer ever doing this. Bobby would come out and say, "Hey, want to see the horses?" And he'd basically take you stall
Everyone.
by stall. It'd be like
Right.
an all-star game, basically. You know, you'd be in like the locker room of an all-star game. Yeah, this is skimming. He's
Yeah.
going to win the
Right.
Pacific Classic. Here's Pete Hollow. He's going to win some race in New York. Here's Hughes. She's going to win the testing. And he'd go down
he
the
would tell you.
road.
I'll never forget at Saratoga when he had just gotten in the Squirtle Squirt. They just turned him over to him, and he came over. He went over to it and he said, "This Squirtle Squirt." He says, "I'm going to win my first Breeders' Cup with him," and he did. He won the
did.
Breeders' Cup sprint.
Yeah, I'm not saying he hit everyone on the nose, but he hit enough of them on the
Look how
nose
pretty-
that it was pretty amazing.
Pretty horse. It's a beautiful horse.
To come through this, and in every stall there was a
I
horse
know.
that was a stakes winner, about to be a stakes winner, and wow, you know what an operation.
When you think of how many good horses came out of this barn, and the thing is, look how wide this barn is. I mean,
Yeah,
the horses
yeah.
can look at each other. It's just it's such a great barn.
Yeah. Wow, what a bunch of memories going up and down here. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just think, right next door is Ron McAnally.
Yeah.
Look at all the horses that we
Yeah,
saw with
yeah,
him.
yeah.
I can go through some of the horses when I came here with my wife and my daughter, and we went to see Mr. Purple, who had won the Santa Anita Handicap, and
Yeah,
seeing all of Ron's horses.
You were mentioning a lot of your memories here came at the Breeders' Cup, which is when you would come into town, and all of the horses that would come down this alleyway here, this
Yeah.
side of the shed row's coming down.
The thing is, you look at it now, it's just this desolate road. I remember all the great horses that would just come walking down here, and there's several of these rows, but this was the main one because it was separated. This barn and that barn would probably the majority of the Breeders' Cup horses, and you could just stand right in this one spot and just watch all the top horses, all the top Breeders' Cup horses, just coming in rows, coming to the racetrack, which is right behind us here. It was just great watching here. You didn't even have to do anything. You could just stand right here and see them all.
I think it's such a shame, Steve. This place is about to go into the wrecking ball, and it's a masterpiece. It's a thing of beauty as we stand here on the backside looking
I know.
over the
How many
track.
How many hours was spent on this training platform, especially with Bobby Frankel? Because this is where he was here every single day.
Yeah.
And this is where he get into his political I want to say discussions, his political arguments with everybody that was against his political views.
Well, what other track can you walk outside the track kitchen
Yeah, it's
onto
not
a porch overlooking the racetrack 2 feet away
I
where
know.
horses like Zenyatta, I know you saw Zenyatta right from this
right
vantage
here.
point.
I'll never forget. John Sheriffs was standing right where I'm standing, right on the corner here, and watching Zenyatta work in company. She broke off right in front of me, right here. That was her last big work before the Breeders' Cup, and John was up here clocking her, and it was just like so. Dottie was up here, and everybody was coming over to congratulate him. But yeah, I mean, this is the track kitchen. That's
Yeah,
right here.
What a vantage point.
People are out here eating egg sandwiches while Zenyatta is working right in front of them. It's amazing.
I guess we'll conclude the backside tour with this great spot. This is Zenyatta's still here. It's still John Sheriff's barn.
Yeah.
John's in New York, and of course Zenyatta's about 2,000 miles away in Kentucky.
I know.
But this was it. This is where the magic was.
This was actually a shrine. Remember, he wouldn't put anybody else in here, and they put little photographs up of her in here. And boy, I tell you, I remember when people would come up here and make arrangements, and people would contact me and they say, "Oh, I'd love to see Zenyatta," and they would tell me all these heartwarming stories.
Yeah.
And I would contact Dottie and John, and they would say, send them up, and they would leave their name at the gate, and they would come up, and John would bring Zenyatta out for them, and they'd have big group photos. It was like seeing Elvis up close and meeting Elvis. I mean, people were so thrilled to be anywhere near her. And this is, like you said, this is where the magic was.
Soon this place is going to be gone, Steve, but you know what? For those of us lucky enough to have enjoyed it, the memories are going to stay with us for as long as we're around.
So many unbelievable memories, and like you said, it's going to be gone soon. It's very sad.
It's very sad to be saying goodbye to Hollywood.
Steve, a lot of memories there at Hollywood Park. We hope you viewers enjoyed that. Again, we want to thank Skip and Tim for their work on this, and also, as always, want to thank you, our viewers. Want to thank our sponsor, Darby Dan Farm. Certainly want to thank Hollywood Park itself for all the memories. In 2 weeks, that will be December 18th, we will be back with you. Steve, can you believe it's time for our Offie Awards show already?
Oh my goodness! Wow, you better start hitting those archives.
We're hitting the archives and we're hitting the Santa hats. So we will see you in 2 weeks with our year-end Offie Awards show, our holiday spectacular. Steve, we'll see you then.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.